Have you ever experienced a moment so profound that it made you pause and wonder if someone beyond this world was trying to reach out to you? The loss of a loved one leaves a void in our hearts. But many believe that this separation is not the end, that their spirit remains with us in subtle yet powerful ways. For centuries, cultures and traditions around the world have shared stories of how the departed communicate with the living, leaving behind signs of their love, guidance, and reassurance. In this video, we will explore 9 signs that your deceased loved one is still with you. These signs may come in the form of dreams, sensations, or even unexplained events, moments that feel like more than mere coincidence. They are whispers from the other side, reminding us that love transcends time and space. Grief can make us feel isolated, but recognizing these signs can bring comfort and connection. Whether you've recently lost someone dear or have been carrying their memory for years, these moments can serve as gentle reminders that they're closer than you think. But how do we recognize these signs amidst the noise of everyday life? And how can we tell the difference between wishful thinking and genuine communication from the other side? This journey begins with an open heart and an awareness of the extraordinary in the ordinary. In this video, we'll delve into each sign, sharing real-life examples and offering insights that might resonate deeply with your own experiences. As we start this exploration, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Have you ever felt a sudden rush of emotion or noticed something peculiar that reminded you of a loved one who has passed? Perhaps it was a familiar scent, an object moving on its own, or a dream so vivid it felt like a real conversation. These are the moments we're here to uncover. So, if you're curious to learn more and perhaps find comfort in the possibility of continued connection, stay with us. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your own experiences in the comments below. Let's create a space where we can honor our loved ones and the signs they leave behind. From the earliest days of human civilization, there has been a persistent yearning to bridge the divide between the living and the departed. Across cultures and generations, stories of spirits, visions, and inexplicable occurrences have fueled a collective belief that those we love and lose are never truly gone. These stories, while diverse in form and interpretation, often share a common thread: the notion that connections transcend the physical realm, existing in ways we can feel but cannot always see. This profound idea of connection is not merely a remnant of ancient traditions or folklore. It is deeply ingrained in our psychology. When someone we cherish passes away, the void they leave is not merely emotional, but also existential. It forces us to confront questions about the nature of existence, the afterlife, and what it truly means to be. These questions, while daunting, often lead us to extraordinary realizations about love, memory, and the enduring power of human bonds. Consider, for example, the phenomenon of dreams. Many people report vividly dreaming of loved ones who have passed, describing these encounters as incredibly real and emotionally charged. For some, these dreams bring closure. For others, they offer guidance or reassurance. Whether one attributes these experiences to the subconscious mind or to spiritual communication, their impact is undeniable. They remind us of the deep imprint our loved ones leave on our lives, an imprint that lingers, shaping our actions, thoughts, and even our sense of identity. Science, too, has begun to explore this enduring connection. The field of neuroscience reveals how memories of loved ones are stored in the brain, often tied to sensory experiences. A particular song, a scent, or even a specific turn of phrase can trigger a cascade of memories so vivid that it feels as though the person is standing right beside us. These memory triggers act as a bridge, allowing us to feel the presence of those we have lost, even if only momentarily. Cultural traditions around the world further illustrate this desire to maintain ties with the departed. In Mexico, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, celebrates the lives of deceased loved ones, with families creating ofrendas, altars adorned with photos, favorite foods, and personal mementos. This vibrant tradition reflects a belief that the dead can visit the living, but only if they are remembered and honored. Similarly, in Japan, the Obon festival invites spirits to return home, with lanterns guiding their journey. These rituals are more than acts of remembrance. They are declarations of enduring love and connection, transcending the limitations of life and death. Even in modern, secular societies, there is an unspoken acknowledgement of this bond. People visit grave sites, speak to photographs, or carry keepsakes as tangible symbols of intangible relationships. These acts, while deeply personal, echo a universal truth. The connections we form in life do not end with death. Instead, they evolve, finding new expressions in our daily lives. For some, this connection manifests as a sense of presence, a feeling that their loved one is watching over them. This sentiment, while comforting, often raises questions about its origin. Is it a product of our minds seeking solace, or does it point to something greater? While skeptics may lean toward the former, many individuals have shared stories that defy logical explanation. These range from inexplicable coincidences to physical sensations, such as a sudden warmth or a gentle touch, often occurring during moments of intense need or reflection. The emotional impact of these experiences cannot be overstated. They provide a sense of continuity, suggesting that relationships endure beyond the physical plane. For those grappling with grief, this belief can be a lifeline, offering hope and a renewed sense of purpose. It shifts the focus from loss to legacy, encouraging people to live in ways that honor the memory of their loved ones. The arts, too, have long served as a medium for exploring this connection. Literature, music, and visual art are filled with expressions of longing and love for those who have passed. These creative works resonate deeply because they capture something universal, the ache of absence and the hope of reunion. Whether through a heartfelt poem, a haunting melody, or a painting that seems to come alive, these artistic endeavors remind us of the profound impact our loved ones have on our lives, even in their absence. In this exploration of connection, it becomes evident that the boundaries between the living and the departed are not as rigid as they might seem. While death is often perceived as a definitive end, the experiences and stories shared by countless individuals suggest otherwise. They point to a continuum of existence, where love serves as the thread that weaves together the seen and the unseen. This understanding not only transforms the way we view loss, but also enriches our appreciation for life. It encourages us to cherish the moments we have with those we love, to create memories that will live on long after we are gone. It reminds us that while life is fleeting, the connections we form are eternal, capable of transcending even the most formidable barriers. As we delve deeper into this topic, we will explore stories, both personal and universal, that illustrate the enduring nature of these connections. We will examine how different cultures and belief systems interpret this phenomenon and consider the ways in which modern science intersects with ancient wisdom. Through these lenses, we aim to uncover the profound truth that lies at the heart of our existence, that love, in all its forms, is the bridge that unites us, both in life and beyond. The concept of the 9 signs has intrigued humanity for centuries, with its origins buried deep in the fabric of myth, prophecy, and spiritual belief. Across cultures and religions, these signs have been interpreted as harbingers of change, omens signaling transformation, destruction, or rebirth. In the context of the 4 horsemen, the 9 signs serve as precursors to their arrival, shaping the narrative of humanity's greatest trials and its potential redemption. But what exactly are these signs? And why have they persisted as symbols of cosmic warning? To understand their significance, we must look at how they manifest across different traditions. In Christian eschatology, signs of the end times often include natural disasters, widespread deception, wars, and a loss of faith. These are not merely abstract concepts, but reflections of human experience in times of crisis. Earthquakes and famines, for instance, are not only environmental phenomena, but also symbols of instability, mirroring the fractures in human society. They remind us of our fragility and interconnectedness, forcing us to confront the limits of our control over the world. In ancient Hindu texts, similar signs appear in the descriptions of the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness and moral decline, the breakdown of social structures, the rise of false leaders, and the loss of spiritual discipline all mirror the themes found in Western traditions. While the framing differs, the essence is remarkably consistent. Humanity faces a series of tests that reveal the depth of its flaws and the strength of its resilience. The nine signs also resonate in modern contexts, interpreted as warnings about the consequences of technological overreach, environmental degradation, and unchecked power. Climate change, for instance, can be seen as a contemporary sign, where the Earth itself cries out under the weight of human excess. The collapse of ecosystems, rising sea levels, and extreme weather events serve as stark reminders of how our actions ripple across time and space. Another powerful interpretation of the nine signs lies in the psychological realm. These signs can be seen as manifestations of collective fear and anxiety, a reflection of the human psyche grappling with uncertainty. From this perspective, the signs are less about predicting a literal apocalypse and more about understanding the patterns of human behavior under stress. They compel us to examine the choices we make, the priorities we set, and the values we uphold. The dual nature of these signs, both warning and opportunity, highlights a crucial theme. They are not meant to induce despair but to provoke action. When seen through this lens, the nine signs are not just symbols of doom but also calls to awaken. They challenge us to confront uncomfortable truths, to question our assumptions, and to strive for a deeper connection with one another and the world. Take, for example, the idea of mass deception as one of the signs. In a time dominated by misinformation and polarization, this warning feels eerily relevant. The spread of false narratives not only distorts reality but also undermines trust, a foundation of human relationships and societal cohesion. Yet, within this challenge lies an opportunity to foster critical thinking, to rebuild trust, and to create spaces for genuine dialogue. Similarly, the sign of global conflict, often represented as wars and violence, can be interpreted as a broader metaphor for division. It reflects the struggles between nations, ideologies, and even individuals. But history shows that conflict also brings moments of unity and understanding. The aftermath of wars often leads to calls for peace, movements for justice, and innovations that reshape the world for the better. The nine signs, therefore, are not merely prophetic markers but reflections of human potential. They remind us that every crisis carries within it the seeds of transformation. As much as they warn of destruction, they also point to the possibility of renewal, a chance to learn, adapt, and grow. In the story of the Four Horsemen, the nine signs set the stage for a dramatic confrontation between human fragility and resilience. They are the whispers before the storm, urging us to prepare not just for survival but for evolution. And while the imagery surrounding these signs is often dark, it is within this darkness that we find the greatest potential for light. Ultimately, the nine signs challenge us to ask profound questions. What kind of future do we want to create? How can we turn warnings into wisdom and fear into hope? The answers lie not in the signs themselves, but in how we choose to respond to them. In recognizing their power, we also recognize our own, the power to shape our destiny and to rise above the challenges that define our time. Throughout history, the notion of prophetic signs, warnings of impending doom or transformation, has echoed in real-world events. These parallels not only reinforce the symbolic power of the nine signs, but also offer valuable lessons for humanity. By examining real-life examples through the lens of the nine signs, we can uncover patterns that illuminate our collective journey, helping us navigate current and future challenges. Take, for instance, the Black Death in the 14th century, a catastrophic pandemic that wiped out nearly one-third of Europe's population. This event can be linked to several of the nine signs: disease, societal collapse, and the erosion of faith. At its peak, the plague represented a profound challenge to humanity's understanding of life and death. The despair and fear it induced led many to question existing religious structures, and in some cases, to turn to extreme interpretations of divine punishment. Yet, out of this chaos emerged profound change. The foundations for modern medicine were laid. Societal hierarchies shifted, and the Renaissance, a period of unparalleled creativity and intellectual growth, eventually followed. The Black Death demonstrated humanity's ability to rebuild and adapt, transforming one of history's darkest moments into a catalyst for progress. Another striking example is World War II, a global conflict that epitomized the sign of war and division. It was a time when humanity was confronted with the depths of its capacity for violence, as well as the dire consequences of unchecked power and propaganda. The war's atrocities, from the Holocaust to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, revealed the terrifying potential of human innovation when divorced from empathy and ethical considerations. Yet, the post-war era also brought lessons in resilience and cooperation. The establishment of the United Nations, the rebuilding of Europe through the Marshall Plan, and the global recognition of human rights were direct responses to the war's devastation. The lesson here is clear. Even in the aftermath of profound destruction, humanity can strive to create systems that promote peace and unity. In more recent history, the 2008 global financial crisis serves as a modern reflection of societal greed and systemic instability, concepts that resonate with the nine signs. Triggered by the collapse of major financial institutions, the crisis exposed the fragility of global economic systems and the consequences of unchecked greed. For millions of people, it was a period of profound hardship, marked by unemployment, foreclosures, and the erosion of trust in financial and political institutions. However, the crisis also spurred critical reforms, such as stronger regulations on banking practices and increased scrutiny of corporate accountability. It became a reminder that unchecked ambition and short-term thinking can lead to widespread suffering. But it also underscored the importance of learning from mistakes and building more sustainable systems. Environmental degradation and climate change, perhaps the most pressing challenges of our time, align with the sign of natural disasters and ecological imbalance. Events such as the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and the Australian bushfires of 2019 to 2020 highlight the devastating impact of human activity on the planet. These disasters serve as stark reminders of the consequences of ignoring environmental stewardship, but they also illustrate humanity's capacity for innovation and collective action. The growing emphasis on renewable energy, global climate accords, and grassroots movements advocating for sustainability are all responses to these warnings. They teach us that while the signs of environmental collapse are alarming, they also offer an opportunity to reimagine our relationship with the Earth. The COVID-19 pandemic, which began in 2019, is a contemporary example that encapsulates multiple signs, from disease and social upheaval to the fragility of global systems. The pandemic exposed vulnerabilities in healthcare, supply chains, and governance, forcing societies to confront uncomfortable truths about inequality and preparedness. However, it also showcased humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The rapid development of vaccines, the adaptability of businesses and individuals, and the widespread adoption of digital technologies are testaments to our ability to overcome adversity. The pandemic taught us the importance of solidarity, the value of science, and the need for long-term thinking in addressing global challenges. These examples underscore a recurring theme. The nine signs are not just warnings of doom but opportunities for growth and transformation. They remind us that while humanity is often tested by crises, these moments also reveal our potential for resilience, creativity, and unity. The lessons from history and recent events emphasize the importance of foresight, adaptability, and collective action in shaping a better future. However, these lessons are not always heeded. A critical aspect of the nine signs is their cyclical nature, warnings that reappear when humanity fails to learn from past mistakes. For instance, the rise of authoritarianism, polarization, and misinformation in recent years mirrors the dynamics that led to previous global conflicts and societal collapses. The challenge lies in recognizing these patterns early and addressing their root causes before they spiral into catastrophe. Ultimately, the real-life parallels to the nine signs serve as both cautionary tales and sources of inspiration. They highlight the dual nature of crises. While they expose vulnerabilities, they also offer a chance to redefine our values and priorities. The question is not whether humanity will face challenges. History makes it clear that we will, but how we will respond to them. Will we succumb to fear and division? Or will we rise above, learning from the past to create a more equitable and sustainable future? In reflecting on the 9 signs, we are reminded of our shared responsibility to act with wisdom and compassion. Each challenge we face is an opportunity to grow, and every lesson learned brings us closer to a world where the signs are no longer warnings but reminders of how far we've come. The 9 signs, both as symbolic warnings and reflections of real-world crises, compel us to examine our collective journey as a species. They challenge us to reflect on the patterns of history, the choices we make, and the broader implications of our actions. At their core, these signs are not merely harbingers of doom, but also opportunities for deeper introspection and growth. To understand their broader significance, we must first recognize the underlying truths they reveal about human nature. Time and again, history has shown that humanity tends to react rather than anticipate. We often ignore subtle warnings until they manifest as crises. Whether it's environmental degradation leading to natural disasters or social inequalities erupting into unrest, these challenges are rarely sudden. They are the result of systemic issues that, if addressed earlier, could have been mitigated. The 9 signs remind us that ignoring the roots of a problem only amplifies its eventual consequences. Take, for instance, the connection between environmental warnings and global priorities. The increasing frequency of extreme weather events and biodiversity loss are clear signals of ecological imbalance. Yet, humanity's response has often been fragmented and delayed, hindered by short-term thinking and competing interests. The broader analysis here points to a failure of collective will. Despite knowing the stakes, progress remains uneven, and the gap between rhetoric and action grows wider. The 9 signs serve as a stark reminder of the price of inaction, urging us to bridge this gap before the cost becomes insurmountable. Similarly, the sign of division speaks volumes about the polarization gripping modern societies. Across the globe, political, cultural, and ideological rifts have deepened, threatening the fabric of unity that holds communities together. This division is fueled by misinformation, economic disparities, and the erosion of trust in institutions. The lessons of history warn us of the dangers of such fragmentation, from the collapse of ancient civilizations to the devastation of world wars. Unchecked division has always led to suffering. Yet, these challenges also present opportunities for reconciliation. By addressing the root causes of division, whether through education, dialogue, or systemic reform, we can pave the way for greater understanding and cohesion. One of the most profound aspects of the 9 signs is their emphasis on interconnectedness. No challenge exists in isolation. Each is intrinsically linked to the others. A pandemic, for instance, does not just threaten health but also destabilizes economies, strains political systems, and exacerbates social inequalities. This interconnectedness underscores the importance of holistic solutions. Addressing a single aspect of a crisis while ignoring its broader implications is akin to treating symptoms while neglecting the underlying disease. The 9 signs compel us to adopt a more integrated approach, recognizing that our actions in one domain inevitably ripple across others. This broader analysis also highlights the role of leadership in navigating these challenges. Throughout history, visionary leaders have emerged in times of crisis to guide humanity toward resilience and recovery. From Abraham Lincoln's unyielding resolve during the American Civil War to Nelson Mandela's commitment to unity and reconciliation in post-apartheid South Africa, such figures embody the qualities needed to confront the 9 signs. Their stories remind us of the power of courage, empathy, and foresight. In today's world, where the signs are increasingly evident, the need for principled leadership is more critical than ever. Another important dimension of reflection lies in the realm of personal responsibility. While systemic changes and leadership are essential, the role of individuals cannot be overstated. The 9 signs challenge each of us to consider our contributions to the problems we face and the solutions we seek. Whether it's reducing our environmental footprint, fostering inclusivity in our communities, or holding leaders accountable, every action matters. Small, Consistent efforts by individuals collectively create the momentum needed for transformative change. As we delve deeper into the broader implications of the nine signs, we must also confront the uncomfortable truths they reveal about human hubris. Many of the crises we face stem from an overestimation of our dominion over nature, resources, and even time itself. This hubris blinds us to the consequences of our actions, leading us to exploit, consume, and dominate without consideration for the long-term effects. The nine signs are a sobering reminder of the limits of human control and the need for humility in our approach to the world. Finally, the nine signs invite us to rethink the narrative of progress. For centuries, humanity has equated progress with technological advancement, economic growth, and the accumulation of power. But these markers of success often come at a cost: environmental degradation, social inequality, and moral compromises. The signs challenge us to redefine progress in more holistic terms, prioritizing sustainability, equity, and the well-being of all life on Earth. True progress is not measured by what we build, but by how we nurture the relationships that sustain us, from the natural world to our shared humanity. In conclusion, the nine signs are not just cautionary symbols. They are profound calls to action and reflection. They compel us to confront the complexities of our world with honesty, courage, and a commitment to change. By recognizing the patterns they reveal, embracing interconnected solutions, and fostering a deeper sense of responsibility, humanity can transform these warnings into opportunities. The journey ahead is fraught with challenges, but it is also rich with potential. The question is whether we will heed the lessons of the nine signs and rise to meet this moment with the wisdom it demands. As we reach the conclusion of this exploration into the profound warnings embodied in the nine signs, it becomes clear that these are not merely tales of despair or cautionary omens to instill fear. Instead, they are mirrors reflecting the state of our world and the choices we have made, individually and collectively. They challenge us to confront the very essence of who we are as a species, where we are headed, and what we stand for. At their core, the nine signs remind us of humanity's incredible capacity for resilience and transformation. Throughout history, we have faced seemingly insurmountable challenges: wars, pandemics, environmental collapse, and societal upheaval. Yet time and again, we have risen from the ashes of adversity, not by chance but through courage, unity, and an unrelenting determination to create a better future. The question before us now is whether we can harness these qualities once more to address the pressing crises of our time. The call to action is clear. We must move beyond passive observation and engage actively with the world around us. Each of the nine signs is a call to reflect, act, and change. They are reminders that the power to shape the future lies not only in the hands of leaders or institutions, but in the collective actions of ordinary people. It is our responsibility to listen, learn, and act before the warnings escalate into irreversible consequences. Consider the environmental crisis, one of the most glaring manifestations of the signs. We are witnessing the effects of a planet pushed to its limits: rising temperatures, dwindling biodiversity, and extreme weather events that threaten livelihoods. The solution does not rest solely on technological innovation or policy shifts. While these are critical, they must be accompanied by a cultural transformation. This means rethinking our relationship with nature, embracing sustainable practices in our daily lives, and advocating for systemic changes that prioritize long-term planetary health over short-term gains. Similarly, the social divisions that the signs highlight cannot be bridged by legislation alone. Healing the fractures in our societies requires empathy, dialogue, and an unwavering commitment to justice and equality. It calls for us to step out of our echo chambers, challenge our biases, and engage with those who hold different perspectives. The divisions we see today are not inevitable. They are the result of choices that we can reverse through intentional action and shared understanding. The nine signs also call attention to the role of leadership in these transformative times. Visionary leaders have the power to inspire and mobilize, to bridge divides and guide us toward a collective purpose. Yet leadership is not confined to those in positions of authority. Each of us has the potential to lead in our own spheres of influence, whether in our families, communities, workplaces, or online platforms. Leadership is about taking responsibility, setting an example, and being a voice for change when it matters most. At the heart of this reflection lies a deeper truth. Humanity's destiny is shaped not just by grand actions, but by the countless small decisions we make every day. What we choose to consume, how we treat others, the causes we support, and the values we uphold. All these choices ripple outward, creating waves of change. The nine signs urge us to act with intentionality, recognizing that every action, no matter how small, contributes to a larger tapestry of transformation. To ignore these signs is to risk repeating the mistakes of the past, to allow history to echo with the same patterns of hubris, neglect, and indifference. But to heed them is to embrace the opportunity for renewal, to chart a course toward a future defined by wisdom, compassion, and sustainability. The nine signs are not fixed prophecies. They are warnings that offer a choice. The power to decide how this story ends lies in our hands. As we stand at this pivotal juncture, it is vital to remember that the challenges we face are not insurmountable. Hope is not a passive emotion. It is an active force, a commitment to work toward a better tomorrow even in the face of uncertainty. Hope drives innovation, fuels activism, and sustains resilience. The nine signs, for all their ominous overtones, are also messages of hope. They tell us that it is not too late to change course, that we still have the agency to rewrite the narrative. To those watching, this is your call to action. Reflect on the lessons we've discussed, and consider how you can contribute to addressing the challenges we face. Start small, make conscious choices in your consumption, educate yourself about the issues, and engage with your community. Advocate for change in areas that matter to you, whether it's environmental conservation, social justice, or ethical governance. Support leaders and organizations that align with these values, and hold those in power accountable. Beyond individual action, there is immense power in collective efforts. Join movements that resonate with your vision for a better world. Collaborate with others to amplify your impact, whether through volunteering, organizing events, or using your voice on social media. Remember that change is rarely the result of a single act, but the culmination of countless efforts by people united in purpose. Finally, stay informed and stay engaged. The challenges of our time require vigilance and persistence. They require us to stay connected to the issues and to one another, recognizing that our shared humanity is both our greatest strength and our greatest hope. The journey ahead will not be easy. It will demand courage, sacrifice, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of a brighter future. But as history has shown, humanity is capable of extraordinary things when we come together with a shared purpose. Let the nine signs be your guide, not as harbingers of despair, but as beacons of hope, urging us to rise to the occasion and create a world worthy of future generations. If this message resonates with you, take the first step today. Like, share, and subscribe to join this journey of reflection and action. Together, let us heed the warnings, embrace the lessons, and work toward a future that is not only survivable but thriving for all.